Welcome to the Witches Movie Coven. Hey, everybody, grab your goat, grab a drink, grab your wand, maybe some popcorn, because let's talk movies, shall we? I'm Patti Negri. I am one of your hosts. You might know me from my witching hour, from television shows, from here right now. Let me introduce everybody a little bit, and then Richard-Lael, there's Richard-Lael right there. You know him as the gentleman psychic. There's Jason Mankey, author, witch, amazing guy. Heather Greene, our expert on all things movies. And the birthday girl herself, Courtney Buckley. So let's Courtney, happy birthday. Yay!
Hey guys. Thank you.
All right, Courtney, make a wish.
Oh, I wish that Jason will love this movie.
Well, that's not going out.
Anyway, we will do all of our introductions and what we're doing later, but I wanted to start out there because the movie this week we picked because it's Courtney's birthday and she picked the movie.
And all my fault.
It's all her fault. It is all her fault. And the movie we picked is Your Highness. It's a 2011 film with James Franco. And Heather, do you have any of your wisdom from your book upon this or anything you want to talk about it?
No. So 2011 is just before. I'll put it into context of witch movies because that's the easiest thing to do. This was just as the witch movies started to get more popular. They weren't quite on point yet. We weren't starting to hit the stride of the witch movies, but it was right before. And this really, this is what I call it's a slapstick comedy, and there are several other similar ones that have been done focusing on witchcraft or including witchcraft, but they were done in the early 90s. I kind of got the sense of it being sort of like Love at Stake or Four Rooms or several of these others. It kind of follows in that suit, or even Princess Bride, but I hate to compare it to that because Princess Bride is fantastic. So don't worry, Jason, I got it. Don't worry.
I also love Princess Bride.
Yeah, Princess Bride is fan, but it follows in that slapstick style. But this is what I call it. It's a slapstick. It's a witchy sword and sorcery slapstick comedy, sex comedy is what it is. So there's a very specific direction to its comedy. It's an anomaly. There aren't that many at this period of time. And again, during the 2000s, prior to the witchcraft craze of movies, which began about 2011, a lot of the witchcraft you saw in movies was similar to this. It was wrapped up into epic journeys. And I've talked about this before. If you think back to 2000, so long ago, you were looking at Lord of the Rings, you were looking at Harry Potter, you were looking at The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So a lot of the witchcraft we saw in the 2000s, a lot of it was wrapped up in this sword and sorcery, this epic story stuff. Most of it. So this kind of was playing off of that. It's a little late, but that happens all the time. But that's where this sort of fits into the context of witchy movies.
Thank you. For anyone who hasn't seen it, Richard-Lael, did you want to give your synopsis?
I would be delighted to go on this quest where I may die, and Courtney most certainly will.
Oh, that's awesome. That was brilliant.
That is, I stole a little bit there, Courtney. That is part of your thing, but that is a quote, and it did make me cackle when I watched it. So the story is, as Heather so aptly put it, it's very sword in the stone. It's sort of medieval magic quest. A young prince, king to be, is now he's gone on a quest and he's met the girl of his dreams and he brings her back, and she is but 19 years old, and she is, of course, a virgin, as they all good white Christian girls in the medieval ages were. So unfortunately, he has a brother who is a little bit lazy. He is a little bit flamboyant. nobody wants him. Everybody wants his brother who's bound to be king. And then, of course, the day of the wedding, the brother who has been invited to be the best man has decided he's going to go on his own quest with his page, Courtney. And while he's away in the forest, an evil wizard of the age of 19 comes in and actually, he says he's 19 years old. So he steals this young girl and takes her back because he's supposed to be this. There's some prophecy about him giving birth to a dragon through this sort of moonlight escapade. And then, of course, they go on this major quest, and it's not a Johnny quest. That would have been better. But they go on this quest to find this girl and to bring her back, and then also to find themselves. And along the way, they meet a centaur that has a very special member in the whole run of the story. He wears it around his neck as a quest, as a conquest to show what he's done. Now, I normally wear mine in my drawer in the bedroom, but that's neither here nor there. Happily ever after, and then I wasn't high enough for this movie. They meet
and then there was that guy.
The wise wizard.
The wizard who's a pervert. He's the good wizard, the old wizard who somehow looks like Mitch McConnell. I don't know why.
But somehow more cognizant.
Wait. What?
No.
Okay, that was it. now that we all understand the movie. So again, you guys chime in. Those of you who saw it, I know Robert saw it. A few of you saw it. Who wants to? Okay, before we go there, what are you doing for your birthday, Courtney? What have you done?
Watching this movie. Apparently, I do this every year. I didn't realize because I think it was like 12 years ago. Yesterday on my Facebook memories, I posted that I was watching it again because I love it so much. But tomorrow is my actual birthday, so lucky for me, one of my all-time favorite movies, Jurassic Park, is back in theaters for the 30th anniversary in 3D. So we bought tickets and we're gonna go do that.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. She's laughing. She's crying.
If only Jurassic Park had a witch in it, tonight's show would be so much better.
Oh God.
Hey, Courtney and I got to see each other and hang out in Michigan the last few days. You know, tornadoes, crazy weather, and everything. But it was so good to see you. And
Right back at you.
So anyway, who wants to go first on this fine film? Courtney.
Me. Okay. I'm going to rewind. And Jason, I don't want to hear one word about this story because I can already hear it. But I went and saw this movie opening night because I was so excited for it because I love a good quest. I love everything about that. I thought it sounded funny. And I love stupid. If it's stupid on purpose, I love it. And then we went to see it and I could not understand. And this is the part, Jason, I don't just wait. We were like one or two of like 6 people in the theater at like the main showing on opening night. And I could not understand why, because it was so funny. It was so funny. It was so quotable. Stop. It was so quotable. I still to this day say things from this movie on a regular basis. To me, it's up there with like Step Brothers as far as quotability.
No.
Yes, it is. And
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Robin Hood Men in Tights. What was the other? Borat that I say constantly. This is one of the movies that made me love movie quotes. Because it just became like a tick. Like I couldn't stop saying it.
Okay, so we all have that movie. We all have that movie that is so funny that made us love movie quotes. Yeah. Okay, for me it was Airplane. I'm dating myself here, but it was Airplane, and I just will throw in an Airplane quote randomly at all in any period of time. Maybe Monty Python, but definitely Airplane was mine. This there is only one quote. Excuse me, he's falling over. He's so upset. There's only one quote in this movie that I probably will repeat, and I cannot say it on air here. So I'm just going to leave you all with that.
I'm going to edit one because the one that I say all the time.
Sorry.
The one that I say all the time is magic, mother clucker, like all the time. But are you triangle face? Never triangle face. Triangle face scares me.
Now, when you do it, it's funnier than the movie.
Yeah.
How? First of all, thank you for the compliment, but also hilarious. And I think maybe it had to do with the fact that the page's name was Courtney, but like there was just so much. There was his stupid bearded dragon. And what is the mechanical bird? Like, why? But this whole movie, they like, my favorite thing about it is how stupid it is, but they take it so seriously. Like, how do they keep a straight face doing any of these things? I would pay money to watch it over again as a blooper reel for 2 hours, because there's no possibility that they could ever. And like, it's not a good movie. It's definitely not a good movie. I will agree with you all on that, but that's exactly why I love it, because it's so stupid. It's hilarious.
But to your point about why is there a mechanical bird, I'll tell you why there's a mechanical bird, because it was that Greek one.
Clash of the Titans.
Clash of the Titans.
Yeah. It was an owl. And so this was a throwback reference.
Yeah.
His
Perfect.
side was a mechanical owl. So this one was a mechanical crow.
Well, Steven the bearded dragon, who lazed about and did nothing except for be stoned in the carriage, was better than the mechanical bird and more trustworthy, obviously.
Okay.
Which is itself a reference to a Cheech and Chong movie, the lizard.
Perfect. I love it.
I was not stoned enough. I wasn't stoned at all.
Neither was I, and I still love it. I will. This will be the hill that I will die on tonight.
And then you will die alone.
I don't think I will. I guarantee you there's going to be some wands up in the chat. Just wait.
Okay.
You might be
It's her
surprised.
birthday, remember. It's her birthday. All right. I will talk next because I'm just finishing watching it right now. I love stupid. I love slapstick. I love sex. There's a quote. I love sex.
That is a quote.
It is a quote. But for some reason, it wasn't funny enough for me. It almost like tried too hard. And I could quote Monty Python. I could quote Airplane. Those are good, stupid. But this one, I just was waiting. I wanted so hard to laugh. And I laughed. Of course, I laughed here and there at many things that have already been brought up. But it was too few and too far between for me. It just was. I should watch it again and be stoned. Then I maybe
that would be hilarious.
For the record, as much as I love it, I have never watched it stoned.
You don't know what you're missing.
Clearly.
I mean, the truth is, if you want to watch this film stoned, just go to parts of Alabama and then they'll stone you and they'll take care of that.
Exactly. Stoned.
Wow.
So anyway, I don't have a lot of other comments on that, but I wanted it to be better because I do love stupid and I do love the people in it, and I love the premise, and I love everything, and I love that they tried to take themselves seriously. It just missed the mark. I don't know what that was. I'm not good enough to know movies if that was the directing or that was the style or whatever that was, but maybe somebody else can know.
I have some thoughts on that, but I thought Jason might want to chime in on his opinion before I do some movie nerd stuff.
I wasn't sure if I was allowed to speak yet. I'm trying to respect Courtney's birthday. So I love Danny McBride, who wrote this film and stars in this film. The Righteous Gemstones, I think, is the best show currently on television. So I love Danny McBride. Heather, you don't have to agree. It's fine. But this movie doesn't work. It's not funny. Danny McBride only plays Danny McBride. And it really is fish out of water. And maybe that's part of the joke, but it's not funny. It's not funny in any way, shape, or form. And I often talk about how movies don't like really have a theme, or they kind of are in conflict with each other in this film. And that happens here too. It doesn't exactly know what it wants to be. Is it completely a stoner comedy? No. It does try the action adventure scenes. James Franco is not a good enough actor for that. He also is gross. So watching him is a little, I had to take a shower when I was done. And, since we are talking about this film, I feel like I should just, do some cleansing while we're doing it. It just doesn't work in any way, shape, or form. And it's sad to see somebody like Natalie Portman debase herself by being in this movie.
I mean, I don't know. Natalie Portman in V for Vendetta trying to be British. Hello, I'm British. I'm certainly not an American.
Oh,
I don't know.
V for Vendetta is such a good movie, though. It's so much better than the graphic novel.
V for Vendetta is great. It is a great film. I do love V for Vendetta. But Natalie Portman's accent in that was atrocious.
So that's it, Jason.
I did write like a little thing. If anyone has ever seen honest movie trailers, I did write one for this.
Oh no.
Okay.
Danny McBride stars as Danny McBride, but this time with an English accent that rivals Kevin Costner for awfulness. Imagine a movie that is essentially 4 stone dudes playing Dungeons and Dragons, but with a $50 million budget. Delight in incest jokes and uncomfortable homophobic moments. And yet, somehow, this turd stars Natalie Portman, Your Highness.
What is not to love?
That's
Sold. Take my money. I will buy a ticket.
I think my
works that came from the sea.
Oh well, no, I don't know about that. I'd rather watch that, I think. But I do love stupid movies, and I'm a big fan of Step Brothers, which Courtney noted. I love Will Ferrell. I was excited to see something silly, and I really needed it today after some stress this week. We're down here in Atlanta with the storm. I'm like, okay, this is going to be nice. It's going to be a nice out. And I did a string of horror movies with my family recently. So, but yeah, I think it missed the mark. And I think there were funny moments that really worked for me. There's some funny quotes. Definitely I laughed. I'm like, but I think it didn't own the comedy the way like Airplane or Monty Python does in that way. And it also didn't, it didn't go far enough that way. And it also just, I don't know. It didn't hit the mark of that true, that totally flamboyant, crazy, slapstick stuff. And so it was, the laughs were few and far between, like Patti said. It wasn't enough. Now, the real telling of the success of a movie like this is whether people are quoting it, because usually these movies are funnier when you talk about it after. I never heard anybody talk about this movie. So
it's not to me.
I didn't talk to you, Courtney. I know. Clearly. So I don't think this movie was horrible. I don't think it's the worst there's slapstick comedies like this that you just walk away from and you're like, there was just nothing there for me. This one, it had its moments that were good. Mostly for me, I'm like, yeah, I don't need to there, but I do have a few quotes that I will remember. Again, my favorite one I cannot repeat on air because this was not something that I can even change. I'm laughing thinking about it, excuse me. But but there are a few moments that I thought were pretty funny. They had their times, but overall, and then the gore, which I didn't get to be here last week, and I'm very specific about the use of gore. I don't get gore, I'm not gore-phobic, I don't get oozy or woozy or whatever. But I think gore needs to serve the purpose of the story, and I don't think it did here. I don't think having the level of gore in this movie was necessary. I think that detracted. I don't need to see in my funny slapstick sex comedy, some of the blood and stuff. So I think that was, and I think some of the CGI. The one thing I thought was interesting, though, I'm talking a lot. Sorry.
No, good.
I read that they didn't fully finish the script. So a lot of the dialogue you're hearing was purely done on the spot. And some of the CGI and some of the stuff they were doing, and you can tell that because there was references that just kind of usually a writer will make a bigger, and that's one of the things I like. They'll make a bigger deal out of references, self-reflective references to other movies. A writer will make sure you notice and make a bigger deal out of it. But they kind of rolled, and I'm like, I don't know if anyone heard them mention Hufflepuff when they were doing a spell. That he was doing a spell and he said Hufflepuff, and I'm like, did he just say Hufflepuff? And I think that's part of the improvisation that gets thrown out that isn't, a writer would have made a bigger deal out of that. So you have those moments you can tell it. And that I think was cool. That I think made the movie better to do that. It's kind of a neat kind of, I love improvisational comedy. So you can see that elements in this movie.
It would have been better if they had winked at the camera a lot more. And I think when you watch something like Robin Hood Men in Tights, or you watch something like Monty Python and the Holy Grail, they're obviously winking at the camera, and there was an earnestness to this movie that really didn't suit the material.
Maybe that's where it was off then. You know, I don't like too much winking. I think some is good. I think you movie enough. That's a good way of describing it. It took itself almost too seriously in points, where it lost its comedy, and that, you know.
But see, I think, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I have to be honest, like, I've seen and enjoy Robin Hood Men in Tights and Monty Python. And to me, comparing the two is like apples and oranges. Like, I don't think they're in the same category.
No, they're not.
So it's two very different. Okay, not what I meant.
I don't like Men in Tights, so I'm just gonna say that, but that's okay.
It's two different senses of humor, and like, so I will say I'm not surprised at anyone's reaction at this movie. I knew going into it that it was probably going to be like this because this is my sense of humor, and for the record, not a stoner. Like, it has nothing to do with that aspect of it. It's just my sense of humor, but. Every person I show this movie, I'll be like, oh my God, I have the best movie. This is the cool. Everyone, and I force them to watch it, like tape their eyeballs open. And I'm like, this is a treat. Get ready because I own it and I have it at the ready. And they're like, what are you watching? Like, what is this? It makes no sense. It's terrible. Okay. But I still, every single time I laugh, like it's the first time I ever watched it. Like I can't tell you where it tickles inside. Like it just does. Mm-hmm. And it is so hilarious to me, and I think it just has to be my sense of humor. Like it's just so
there might be a gas leak in your house or something like that that is altering your state of consciousness, that is making you laugh more than the rest of us.
I've watched it at several different houses.
But okay, so nobody likes it, and you still tie them down and make them watch.
The list of movies that you. The list of movies that you guys have made me watch that have been terrible and painful, it's payback.
I mean, honestly, would you rather watch this movie or that horrible Wizard of Oz movie with the Muppets?
Hard to say because they're both delightful.
This one. I would rather watch this one.
See?
The Muppets. I'm gonna go for Muppets.
No.
There's that Miss Piggy dance number that I like towards the end of the film, and it's also shorter. And sometimes that has a lot to do with it. This, we could have watched the non-theatrical version or the theatrical version. I chose the non-censored version not to watch because it was 3 minutes longer. I had to go with the theatrical version.
You know what?
Get out quicker.
That's probably the problem because I watched the unedited version and it's an entirely different experience, Jason. So maybe
those 3 minutes make all the difference.
It really does.
Mm-hmm. I am still stuck. Whoever commented on my Robert the Doll, that's very good. Bell's got a new Robert the Doll, and that's for Bell. And I've got Robert the Doll rum.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and you've had some, I think.
Oh yeah,
it's good. Is it good?
Yeah, it's good. It's weird. It's better chilled because it's got cinnamon and cardamom, all these magical things about Robert. Yeah, it's good. I had some. I
want to talk. Go ahead, Patti.
I just want to say, well, Heather, what you said. I live in Hollywood. I'm born and raised in Hollywood, been in this industry my whole life. How do you start a big budget movie with stars when you don't have a finished script? How does that, you're just asking for torture, unless it is some big improv group like a, that does that, but that's not who these people are.
No, but they do. If you have the right kind of stars, you can improvise. That makes they probably did a lot of takes, and I think it makes it interesting. I think from what I read, some of the scenes were scripted and some were not, and it kind of went back and forth. If you have really good actors, they can do it. Some of these actors were good enough. I didn't have a problem with the dialogue at all. I thought it was campy. That was not the problem. But I want to bring up the idea of comedy here, and getting into my film geeky stuff, is that comedy is one of the hardest things to do, on whether it's a stage or film or whatever. It's harder than drama. And also, Courtney's right. This is not the same. If we get into the really mincing and taking apart of different types of comedy, this isn't exactly the Men in Tights type of comedy, because he does do a little bit of this in his movies, but it's a little bit different. It's a little more refined, and also it was more practiced. You had a very practiced comedic thing going on with those films. With why can't I think of his name right now, because my brain is not working. Mel Brooks, thank you. For all of his movies, his older ones were better than Men in Tights, in my opinion. But the point is that even with slapstick, you have different types of slapstick, and people are very specific when it comes to their taste in comedy, what makes you laugh. And so comedy is very, very tough. Getting people to laugh is very tough. Getting bigger audiences to laugh is very tough. So, they had, this is a very specific one. So if you're looking for something similar to this, the closest thing, again, in witch films that I can think of is Love at Stake, which is equally as stupid, but that one is, for me, was funnier. It's equally as stupid. It's slapstick. It's a sex comedy. It's all over the place. It's Salem witches, that kind of thing. So maybe, Courtney, have you seen Love at Stake?
I'm gonna have to look it up, because maybe I have not, and maybe I should.
It's like 88 or 89, and it even has Sally. I think Sally Jesse Raphael's in it. It's like very 80s. I
love this.
It is right up your alley. It's very much this. It's not a quest, but it's instead of a take on Lord of the Rings or one of these kind of films, it's a take on the Salem story. It's a take on the Crucible. Okay, but it's a similar type of comedy. And again, comedy is really the timing. Everything goes into comedy. Any actor or director will tell you comedy is harder than drama.
Well, I think this is supposed to be a stoner movie, like Pineapple Express, which is the same group of people who did this film.
Yeah.
And they didn't make it a stoner movie. Maybe it would have been funnier had they gone all in on that aspect of what they do, because Pineapple Express is funny. Instead, they went somewhere in the middle, and that's why it just doesn't work.
But see, I don't like Pineapple Express. I don't think it's funny.
I don't think I've ever seen Pineapple Express.
But that's the thing, that's what I mean, is like, it's supposed to be the stoner movie, but that was like the least of it for me, because those movies don't really do much for me at all. Dude, Where's My Car, I think when I was in high school, is funny. Yeah. But other than that, I think they're boring and repetitive, and they do the same thing, and it's the same humor every time. So this was different. Like, it was the people that I think are great and that I love, but they did something a little bit different. And that's, I think, what brought more enjoyment for me to watch it rather than their other movies. I don't love their other movies as much as I love this one.
I don't think this was a stoner movie. But anyway, go ahead. It didn't feel like it. I agree with you, Jason.
I was going to save this for later, but I feel like now would be a good time, because I have a confession to make. And I'm going to ask, Father, forgive me, for I have sinned. I actually enjoyed every second of it, and I thought it was hilarious.
I knew I could count on you.
That's awesome.
It It was bad. There is no getting around it. It was bad.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the cinematography was gorgeous. The acting was, I didn't care. It sort of was it was entertaining to my child brain. I went, oh, that's kind of fun. Oh, he's got a mechanical bird. And the magician, who is obviously in his 40s, is only a boy of 19. I can't let that go because I too am only 19.
There he is again.
Lazar.
That's Justin Theroux, which like just completely blows my mind. Who's a pretty famous actor and writer and dated Jennifer Aniston for a long period of time. And there he is in this film.
Looking in all his glory. Lazar.
I liked it. I liked him. I thought Lazar, and then there's the witchcraft component too, which I would be remiss if I didn't talk about. So he has three mothers, which are clearly the three fates.
Yep.
Which in ancient times it was the three fates, but it comes more even to Hecate, who is made Mother Crone. These were the three fates who are all old crones. But I liked that aspect of it, and they sort of, as this triune goddess, they acted as one to sort of help their boy get lucky.
And eat his chicken nuggets.
See, it's going to get funnier and better as we talk about it. That's how you know you have a decent one of these slapstick films. But talking about the magic is really cool. The one thing I did enjoy was seeing the three fates, because that is one of Hollywood's most favorite tropes that they do in these type of movies is the seer witches. In any type of sword and sorcery, you're going to have a seer witch, whether she's old or there's one movie, I don't know, I think it's Conan the Barbarian. She's young and then turns old. I can't remember. Anyway, you have these seer witches throughout these type of movies, and that's really the only presence of witchcraft. So they use that trope. They've seen movies like this, obviously. And then, of course, you said the fates, you said Hecate, and then we can also bring up Macbeth. And really, Macbeth is the most influential Western text on the representation of witchcraft. And here you have them. In this silly, stupid, slapstick comedy, we find Macbeth and all of that representation, and we show how powerful that representation of witchcraft is, even in these silly little movies.
Weird sisters hand in hand.
And I want to quote them right now so badly, but I can't because it would not be appropriate on air.
to the effing.
Yes, there you go. That's what I was thinking right there. To the effing.
That's another one I say on a daily basis.
But I have to say, Richard-Lael just made a quote that's apparently already on a T-shirt.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I just lost it. Something, it was very entertaining to my child brain. It's already on a shirt.
It is.
I mean, yeah, I thought it was very childish. I'm only a boy of 19, so I'm not as mature as you fine folk. But but because I'm a child of 19, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I did. Yeah. It was mostly because I liked looking through and seeing all of those little elements. I liked seeing the one that I can't remember now. Why the Titans, Clash of the Titans. Mm-hmm. I liked seeing that little reference. I liked seeing some of the epic. I liked Macbeth. I liked those little elements, even if they were sort of sloppy and they were thrown in and they were misplaced and they were not well executed. And I have to say, this fellow.
This guy.
Wait, we keep bringing his picture up, and the quote is my favorite thing. And another one that I say all the time when they're like, puff upon this pipe and have a vision. And so the one brother is like, oh my God, these terrible visions. And then the other one's like, look at him like, perhaps I'm not puffed quite enough. Like, And then he's like, are you seeing what I'm seeing? And he's like, you losing your absolute mind. Like, handle your ish, Fabious, please. Like, so I say that one constantly too. And then of course to find out where like he's, you know, not the wise old wizard, he's the creepy old wizard.
Yeah.
But like just he's like, oh, secrets. And then the grown adult man is like, don't tell father.
Okay, so Star Wars, who does he look like? He looks like somebody. He is this character looks like somebody, and I've been racking my brain to try to remember. Who is
General
he look
Akbar?
like?
It's a trap.
Yeah, it might be Akbar.
He's supposed to be Yoda, though, right? I mean, he's playing that role of Yoda.
It's like, is it Akbar? Maybe that's, but Akbar looks like a fish though, so I'm not sure. There's somebody. He looks like somebody, yes, but he's supposed to be the Yoda character, clearly. Yoda or he's in Dark Crystal, the woman. He plays that role. Which is also very common. That's a very common character once again in Sword and Sorcery, is just to stumble upon some old character that gives you wisdom. Of course, in this case, it's not only wisdom he gives you.
Trauma.
Maybe that is wisdom. I don't know.
Clean yourself up. I also have to say some of the quotes that, like, in the beginning where he's pouting because his brother's getting all the attention and he's out and he's like swinging the sword that he can't really lift up, which is like so stupid. And then he's like, his brother comes out and he's like, come on, join the festivities, be gay with me and father. And he's like, I don't want to be gay with you too. And then when he says, here, let's sword fight. He's like, I don't want to do swords with you. I want to do them by myself. And so I say that all the time. Like, someone asks me to do something, I'm like, I don't want to do swords with you. I want to do them by myself.
See, if I was ever to watch this film again, I only want to watch it with Courtney.
I scream literally, like, I watched it again for the 927th time 2 nights ago, and tears were pouring down my face because it's funny to me every time.
I mean, that gas leak really needs to be checked out. But if I were inebriated and watching this with friends, I do think it would be fun. But watching it alone on my couch is not really the ideal situation.
So what you're saying is that you are not having the same visions as I am, and you need to puff upon this bed. You're not seeing what I'm seeing.
I am saying that I would watch it with you, Courtney, in person. That is definitely what I'm saying.
Right. I agree. That's how I would see it again. And be stoned.
I'm going to
really, really stoned.
I would watch it with you, Courtney, but as much as I enjoyed it, it is not one that I would ever watch again.
Fair.
Very
valid.
I want to go back to the age thing. It's all the ages seemed weird. Other than the 19-year-old is a 40-something-year-old. To me, the younger brother looked like older than the older brother.
Yep.
Younger. I don't.
But that was the part of the charm to me. Like, every time I think about that while I'm watching it and I look at the two of them together, I giggle. Like, this is the movie that I watch not when I want my brain to be stimulated or anything else, but when I just want to giggle for no reason, because like Richard-Lael says, it's the things that I would laugh at in high school when I was immature. And they're so immature, and it's so funny because it just releases that part of your brain that lets you say, you know what, like, fine, it's so stupid, I'm gonna laugh at it.
Danny McBride plays Danny McBride. That's the only thing he can do.
And I
definitely
take my money.
I think that's why I say sometimes you just got to find a Will Ferrell movie. I love one of the movies, and my partner won't watch it with me because it's that stupid, but I love to watch it. It's it's Eurovision. It's you know, there's movies you just watch because they just make you laugh and they take your brain away and you just have fun and you don't think. And you know what? This is one of those.
There's not a lot of thinking.
No
thinking. I want none.
You know, and that's all good. Not every movie is going to be a Hitchcock movie. Not every movie is going to be a Scorsese movie. Not every movie is going to be a thinking movie, and that's totally okay.
Not every movie is going to be Will Smith in Bewitched.
No. Or the Addams Family, Richard-Lael. Not every movie is the Addams Family. But
Will Smith was in Bewitched.
What?
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell. Yeah.
I was thinking there was like another remake I had missed along the way.
No, see, that's
which would actually maybe have been better if it had Will Smith in it.
It would
we don't
be a
talk
hit.
about the Bewitched movie. We don't talk about that Bewitched movie.
That movie doesn't exist.
No, the movie does not exist.
That one's on the shelf with Nick Cage, Wicker Man.
Hey, that doesn't exist.
That doesn't exist either.
That's in that weird universe with Sinbad and the Shazam Genie movie.
I have a question. I have a question for everyone, specifically Jason. Would it have been better if I picked Sword in the Stone?
Well, Sword in the Stone is only 80 minutes, so yes.
No, I think this was worth watching. I think this was definitely worth watching.
It's fun to get out of our comfort zone with films and do different things. And this was certainly different. I had watched this 10 or 11 years ago, and I will admit to you, Courtney, that I thought it was better the second time than the first time that I watched
honestly, it's like wine. Gets better every time, like with age. I swear to God, because the more you watch it, I feel like once you get over the initial, like I loved it from the beginning, but like once you get over the initial, like, oh God, what am I watching? Then it's like, then you free yourself up to laugh at it, or you find another quote, or you notice another thing. Like I literally, Patti, you just said this, but I just noticed this or was paying attention to it last night or the other night when I was watching it, was how much older Danny McBride looked than James Franco, and I focused on that for the duration of the movie, and it just enhanced it for me. But it's like, it's one of those for me that I find something new every time that I like.
Yeah,
Did
but
you
that
like
takes you out of the movie, but that should take you out of the movie, not into the movie.
But I think a movie like this, you're not in no matter what. It's not one of those. It's just stupid. It's just something for your eyeballs to look at and your brain to laugh at, and it's not immersive. It's not supposed to be, I don't think.
Yeah, and Danny McBride looked 40 when he was 19. I mean, he looks the same all the time from probably the time he was 15 years old.
Like I said, I like stupid. Maybe it wasn't stupid enough or funny enough. I mean, I would watch it with you and stoned. You have any more quotes before we vote on this?
Oh God, do I not? I have. Oh boy, hold on.
Get the censors out and ready to go.
No, I have to think about these things before.
That's not a hairbrush. It's a fork. There was the Little Mermaid one.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of those. They're G-rated.
It's my legacy to stop anyone who wants to make dragons was one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the whole exchange where he got bit in the leg and they're like, suck the venom out, suck it out. I don't want to suck it. You suck it. Can't suck your own venom. Like, pretty funny. And then when I was giggling about this earlier, just thinking about it with the Minotaur or whatever it is, and then it cuts to like they fed Courtney to it. And he's like, help. And it's like sniffing his hair. It's so
this is better than the film for those of you who have not seen it.
Courtney's
better than the movie.
Do a live watch this movie with Courtney, Mystery Science 3000 style.
Oh God. And then one of my absolute favorite quotes, and I don't know how I'm gonna try to censor it or just not say it, but when they catch Julie,
She can't even.
When they catch Julie in the woods and he's like hunched over and he's talking to Lazar in the fire or whatever he's doing, and then they try to catch him, and then they take his cloak off and he's a Ken doll, and they call him Julie the Ken doll trader, but with a different word. And I call people that as an insult all the time now, because I scream laugh, and he's running through the woods like that, and then when they catch him and they bring him back and they're like, he was consorting with Lazar, and then the other guy's like, Lazar.
This is way better than the movie.
Way better. Way better.
Oh God! And then in
You
the
still
beginning,
haven't said my favorite quote. I'm waiting for it.
when they try to hang him in the beginning, and he can't.
That's a good quote. That is a good one.
Heather, I want to know what yours is. Can you like censor it?
She's got a burning somewhere.
Oh,
I can't say it. I can't say it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just leave it at that for now. You know which quote I'm talking about?
I know exactly which one. I'm trying to think of how to say it.
There's no way to say it. Just let it go.
Can you type it in the chat? Maybe I can
Well,
censor
I think,
it live.
The quote about the shit was
burning in my loins, but loins is an animal that chops down wood. So it's a burning in my.
Oh right. Okay, I don't remember that at all.
Oh, when she's talking.
Oh, she's so serious about it.
She's really serious because she's explaining why she wants to kill everybody and why she totally understands why they want to get their brother back. Oh, you want to get your brother back. I understand because I've been on this quest I've had a burning in.
That feeling is all too familiar. I've had a burning in my.
Yeah,
since the day I lost my brothers.
It was very funny.
I'm just thinking of the Beaver family in the line "The Witch in the Wardrobe."
Yeah, exactly. That's what she was talking about.
Yeah, it's everyone's fabious family.
Yeah, they are a great family.
Oh God.
Fabulous.
Fabious.
Handle your ish, Fabious, please. First, you must answer a riddle. What journey be long and twisted and sensitive?
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
It's a riddle. You don't know what the answer is. It's a riddle. That's all.
It's a riddle, all right.
Smashing the order button. I am smashing the order button.
I would pay money for a Courtney one-man person show of this movie. Yes, absolutely.
I know every word of it. I know every word of it.
Clearly.
And if we have a watching party, and you watch it with me, I do recite it, and no one can stop me, because that's also how I enjoy the movie.
That I want to see. That I would definitely enjoy that. We'll have to have a watch party of this movie at some point.
Your laughter. I haven't heard this much your laughter since I can remember.
It's so funny.
All right. On that note,
just thinking of Courtney's face when he's like,
and his haircut. There you go.
Oh my God.
All right. On that note, we need to vote because we want to check in and we want to wish Courtney happy birthday. So, you guys out there, all of you in there, Matthew, Johnny, Rick, everybody, Robert, vote. Wands up, wands down, wands neutral, wands up your I don't know what. Okay.
Listen, I'll take it.
Mine is
tedious and boring.
That's another good quote.
Oh.
Okay.
Courtney, this was not the worst movie we've ever watched on this show. I'll give you
last week's movie was.
Oh, boy.
I mean,
we do need that Heather soliloquy on Renfield.
We do need that. That's why we're trying to get through this. Okay, so we've got a few wands up. We've got a few wands down, and we've got some neutrals. So those of you now are intrigued to go see it or to not go see it, you guys let us know what that is. So Heather, you just made a statement though. You were not with us last week, and
I didn't like Renfield at all. I thought it was a waste of my time. And there was cinematography good, great premise, fantastic premise. Super excited to see it. I'm like, what? That's brilliant. Let's do it. This is great. I love Dracula. To have the premise be on, difficult and toxic relationships. It was such a great way to start, and then it just went downhill. I think the violence and the gore served was top. The story wound up second, and in my mind, in all cases, the story should always come first. And they lost the story for all the violence and gore. I felt like I usually know turn. I'm like, oh, they're fighting. Go get something that 15 minutes, come back, they're done. And it was the length of the fighting, the time on screen, the gore, and I think they lost the beauty of the possibility and the currency and the contemporary content of that story for the gore. And then it began to just be a showpiece. It was a showpiece for the actors, and the story was gone and the premise was gone. And so I was like, I don't want to watch this anymore. All I'm seeing is CGI body parts exploding, and and I was so disappointed that they lost that premise and that really great rich story that they could have told, that would have been haunting, that really would have had the Dracula flavor, that would have been contemporary to people, that would have had a message. Just to do CGI violence and fit in with all that stuff. And no, I was like, nope, this one was a big thumbs down for me. I really think they lost their footing on that one. I would much rather watch this week's movie 100 times over than watch Renfield ever again.
Really?
Wow, those are big words.
Wow.
And I feel very strongly, and I love vampire movies. And Dracula, Bela Lugosi is my favorite. Just asked. Because I just love that classic Dracula, and because I love film, so I love that classic Dracula. And I was actually in Dracula when I was a senior in high school. I played Lucy or Mina. I can't remember which one because they both combined in the play version of it. So I was the one that gets bit and all that stuff. So that was super, super fun. So I love Dracula stories. I love that it missed the haunting stuff. I think they could have done a better job. They could have led with the story and let the story be the main part and done the violence and the gore less. And then it just felt like a showpiece for some of the characters. And I'm like, Lord, I don't need to see this. This is not what the story is gone. It's going from that. Anyway, I could go on for hours, but
I liked it. And there was too much blood to make it really gory. Like my quote last week, there was not many buckets of blood in one head. So it turned into comedic. So anyway, we are running out of time. I want everybody to check in and to wish. So who wants to go first? What's going on with you, Jason?
I am home for like a good month and I'm super excited about it. But in October, I will be at the Festival of Souls in Memphis, Tennessee. And then I will be at the Pagan Pride Day in Las Vegas, like November 11th. And tonight I'm representing the Buckland Museum of Witchcraft and Magic in Cleveland, Ohio, which is one of my favorite museums. And I'm also writing a Ray Buckland biography right now. But if you are in the Cleveland area, this is the best time of year to go see the Buckland Museum. And Steven, who runs the museum, you now owe me $10.
Thank you very much. All right, Richard-Lael.
Well, I will be leaving on Friday, actually, for Atlanta, for Debauchery Burlesque Ball Atlanta. And where hopefully I get to meet Heather in person. And I'm looking forward to that. Then, of course, I'll be in Ohio in the end of October. And you can find me here in New Orleans. Also, you can find me at thegentlemanpsychic.com. Anywhere good gentleman psychics are sold. Even in bad movies that Courtney loves and that I kind of loved every second of it too. So even there, you could find me there.
Heather.
I'm here in Atlanta and I hope to see Richard-Lael soon in person, some way, somehow, make that happen with magic. And otherwise, I am not going to be doing much traveling in the next couple months, but I am online. You can find me at heathergreene.net, and that connects to all of my socials. I am a journalist, so my articles are often, the links to all the places those are as well, and I post those on my socials. And otherwise, again, as I always say, I'm working with my fantastic witchy authors, working on their books, getting them out, and we have some really good ones coming out. So pay attention to my socials to see what the latest, greatest witchcraft and occult books that I'm working on that will be published. I'm going to be posting a list for the fall soon of my fall upcoming books, and there's some really good ones in there.
Hey, thank you. Who hasn't gone yet? Courtney.
I have a very shocking announcement for everybody. I'm officially a doll collector. These are not dolls because they are Halloween decorations, but my Not a Babies are here. And these are real dolls. This is Rosie, and she's a ghost.
And she's frightening.
She is beautiful. She haunts dark hallways. Then this is Marion, and she's also beautiful. And she's not a baby. I'm trying to. There she is.
They're all dolls.
Yep. Yeah, these are dolls because they don't have batteries in them. And then I now own not one but two Robert the dolls because I had to get the Christmas version also.
I need a Robert the doll. That's great.
There's these spent the night with Robert the doll in Key West.
Yes, they did. They
Holy
spent the night.
Never.
Courtney, you are so cute for a girl who just hated dolls, didn't collect dolls. You have the scariest dolls of anybody I know. I have dolls. Heather has these pretty dolls. You have the spooky.
I have pretty dolls.
Richard-Lael is pretty dolls.
I have a theory about why that is because you guys have real haunted dolls and I have fictitiously haunted dolls, and that's what makes them okay.
I thought we put the solo Pat Robertson in one of your dolls.
I think that's right, Jason. Wasn't that what we did at the ritual that time?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Mm-hmm.
How
That's why we come together for Peconicon, right, Heather?
Yeah.
That's right. We find souls to put in Courtney's dolls.
Yeah.
It says right on her tag that she haunts dark hallways. So where is it?
Well, where do you think Pat Robertson would haunt it?
I will send her after you.
So
I will send her after you. Just wait.
She kind of looks like Pat Robertson.
A little friendlier, but yeah.
That is beautiful. Well, happy birthday and happy
birthday.
And we love you so much. So we are celebrating, and we even watched this movie for you.
I love you guys so much. I know that was a labor of love for all of you, and I feel it. And I love you guys so much, and you are my family. And I was just talking about this the other day, how much you guys mean to me, that now when something happens in my life, I reach and I text a couple of friends, and then I also text our Witches Movie Coven group chat because you guys are my family. So I love you guys very much.
This is the real Coven.
Yeah,
it is. I am home for 2 weeks. I will be in Baraboo, Wisconsin in 2 weeks, weekend of the 15th, 16th, doing a spooky ghost hunt, seances, workshops, and things. The next weekend, I'm going to Albuquerque, New Mexico, at a beautiful place called Resonant Essentials. They kind of help spiritual and magical people, business people do it, but I'm doing a whole weekend there. Then I'm headed to Massachusetts for Massachusetts Paracon. It's all in September, and then October gets crazy.
Always.
And October gets crazy. So you guys like us, follow us, tell us what you want to see. Halloween is coming up. October is coming up. We want your list of the movies you want for things, because we're going to be doing some special things, I think, for Halloween and for the holidays. How much are we talking about what we're going to do or what we want to do? We're going to keep it as a surprise. I don't know. So, but
next week, Pumpkinhead.
Oh, yes. Next week. We did pick it already. Pumpkinhead.
Yes. Starting off that fall season, right?
I'm excited. I have not seen it.
I've never seen it either.
I've never seen it.
It is one of the best horror movies ever made in my mind. Nope, I didn't say that. You don't know what I think about it.
Heather's completely neutral going into
I'm
this.
completely neutral going into this movie.
Heather, have you even seen it?
Nope, never seen it. And then there's like 12 of them, so you know, we got to make sure we watch the right one. I don't know anything about it.
Always make sure we watch the right one. We've had that.
Oh God!
It's not Pumpkin 2 Electric Boogaloo.
No,
it's not
the first one, 1989 or 7 or 8 or something.
It's not Pumpkin of the Sea.
No, it's not Pumpkin of the
The
Sea.
love pumpkin.
Not the love pumpkin.
I love pumpkin. There's so many pumpkin. All right, you guys, the one thing we didn't do is everybody needs to get merch. Mysterycontrol.com. You could have Witches Movie. You could have a Richard-Lael pillow.
Oh,
You
wait.
could have, Courtney, you could have, now I think we're getting into Crocs and but you can get, yes, and even Richard-Lael's pillow wears my Patty's Power Panties. So you could get to Witches Movie Coven, you can get to Scared and Alone, you can get to my Spellcaster line, you can get to Richard-Lael's section, you can get to my Power Panties. You guys can dress yourself for the next 5 years, because
As I have.
as she has, she was until we're online. But it is 7 o'clock or whatever time it is, wherever you are. So we have to go, but we have one more thing to do. Do we ship internationally yet? I don't think we do, but we're working on it. If I'm wrong, we will post that. Time to cackle. 1, 2, 3.